Hey, Wixman Ray here. Had a little break, didn't do anything yesterday for weather, but we'll catch up today. Today is Sunday, February 8th, 2026. Moving along through February. Can you believe that? Already the 8th of February. Hey, just looking at the current observations and the radars overlaid. So we're looking at the Pacific Northwest. We got some rain up here in this area. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s, so about normal for them up there. For the rest of the West, pretty quiet. Very warm from LA over to Phoenix in the upper 70s already, in the 50s all across the Great Basin into Salt Lake, and even Denver 62. Las Vegas is 66. So even warm up into Montana in the 50s. So um, yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about the progression of systems later on. For the rest of the United States, really quiet. I mean, um, not too bad up here, 20s and 30s up across the northern plains into up near the parts of the Great Lakes. The cold air really is back in the Northeast. It's in the teens back here. 5 degrees at Buffalo, so they're pretty cold. So there's some single digits out there, yeah. And Syracuse 6. So, yeah, that's where all the cold air is, right up in this area. Oops, sorry. Right up in this part of the country, the Northeast. As we head down south, yeah, it's in the 50s in Tennessee, in 60s and 70s as we head down towards Atlanta and Jacksonville. 60s and 70s across Florida, so yeah, not too bad down there. Getting closer to normal and warm across Texas, mostly 70s, approaching 80 in a couple places. So. All right. So that's it. Yeah, these are some. This is a weak system coming across. These returns probably aren't hitting the ground. Same over here. This is showing some weak flurries, but really nothing coming out of the cloud, really. So yeah, the only precipitation's up in the Pacific Northwest right now. We'll just briefly show you the satellite. So here's all these clouds associated with that system coming off the Pacific there. Um, Then we got this little weak disturbance, just clouds mostly. That's about it. So that'll quickly move east through today. Otherwise, you got some bands of low clouds. It looks like they're trying to erode back here in the northern plains and back up across Wisconsin towards the Carolinas. So elsewhere, pretty clear. Even up across the northeast, it's clear and cold. A lot of snow on the ground out there. So about all to show you there. Looking at our GFS American model, this is today. We'll kind of scroll through. This is tonight. So let me switch this real quick so it shows you the rain and the snow here. So you got some valley rain, mountain snow. Depending on where the snow levels is, there might be some in some of the valleys out here in Idaho, northern Idaho. But yeah. So as we head into Monday morning, Saturday, late Sunday night, Monday morning, northern Nevada will get in on a little action. Some rain and snow across there, and then looks like Salt Lake will miss most of it. Maybe the northern Wasatch might get a little dusting or inch or two of snow, but not much. And then that system kind of moves out and kind of weakens, and you got a low kind of up here in Canada, but that's going to trek kind of eastward and not really affect much of the U.S. until Tuesday when it hits the northeast again, and that'll bring some snow up here, a couple inches, um, just add to their snowpack. This We kind of get this cold front. This is on Tuesday, kind of coming through the central part of the country. Really dry. There's not. It's starting to pick up some Gulf moisture, and that's why you start seeing the rain breaking out here. Maybe a few showers here and there. Um, Sorry about that. Yeah, so, but nothing too crazy. Kind of a weak system, and then it kind of moves out to sea. You'll have some residual showers through the middle of the week. That's it really for that system. Let's go back west here. So After this first system kind of going east on Monday into Tuesday, we have another system coming into California on Tuesday with some rain and some mountain snow, and that'll spread into parts of northern Nevada, maybe even the southern parts as we get into Wednesday. Um, Fairly warm system, so I would say the snow levels will probably be above. They'll be like 6,000 feet and above for the most part through this area. May vary a little bit at night, but yeah. And that kind of continues through Thursday, so we'll have some chances of precipitation. Not a lot of rain, but and snow, but they've been real dry out here this winter, so that'll really help out across the west. Um, as we get into Friday, the end of the week here, we're getting a low pressure kind of developing out here in the plains. There's still a little bit of model differences. There's going to be a storm, but there's some timing issues and exact placement on where things will form. But needless to say, you're going to see some rain across the south. There may be some little bit of snow on the northern fringes. Um, Looks like it intensifies. You may get some heavier rain as it taps into the Gulf moisture towards later in the weekend across the south and southeast. Something to keep an eye on. Maybe a little bit of, sorry about that, snow up here in the parts of the Carolinas where that cold air damming is occurring on Sunday, late Saturday into Sunday. So yeah, might have a mixed bag, but this is about a week out, so 6 days out. So we'll just see 6, 7 days out actually. So some model uncertainty still going on, starting right around Friday. So. And then we got another system coming on shore. So that's kind of the story back here. You'll kind of get one after the other every other day or so. So California is going to get on more rain and snow and for the weekend. So and that'll spread across the Great Basin and Rockies. So really, that's the story. Relatively mild, no real big cold outbreaks to speak of. Temperatures will be near or above normal for most parts of the U.S. except for the Northeast. It'll either be below or near normal as we go through the week. But yeah, that's really it for temperatures. No, doesn't look like any Arctic outbreaks right now. Don't see any big dips in jet stream for at least the next week. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see, was there anything else? Yeah, I was going to kind of show you the upper level flow. This is kind of this is right below. So the other day I showed you where the jet stream was about 35,000 feet. And then we have the surface, and that's what I just showed you where the rain was going to be and the pressure, low pressures and high pressures and fronts down near the surface of the ground. This is about in between. So about this is actually at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet above sea level. So this is later on today. So you can see this is all energy. All these different colors you see up here. That's what we call vorticity. That's energy coming across Pacific Northwest, and that's why you're seeing the rain causing upward motion and clouds and rain and snow. So we'll just call it precipitation. And then you got this, we call this a cutoff flow. It's kind of been sitting out here for several days, and it's slowly going to move up kind of in this general direction up towards Texas and weekend as we go through the week. And then you get this system up here, and then this one's moving away. And then you got this is that weak disturbance we saw with the clouds. And this is that one associated with the low up in Canada. And we'll kind of forward through. So this is on Monday, going through the day on Monday. So you kind of see some more energy with that low back here in Canada. You see this energy that came off the Pacific and now is moving through Idaho and Wyoming and those parts. See, this is still sitting down here, just very slowly moving. It's kind of cut off until some energy out over to the west of it kind of pushes it inland. So yeah, so as we head into Tuesday, so this is Tuesday here. So yeah, you can see this system's pushed up into Mexico. So that's when you're going to start seeing the chances of rain for Texas increase. Um, yeah. You have a little weak thing here, probably not much associated with it. Here's that next system coming on shore across California. So you see this low, this is what we call a trough. So it's a dip in, it's basically a low pressure system where you're going to see the weather, the clouds and rain. This is what we call a ridge, just for kind of refresh you. Ridge of high pressure where you're going to have generally good weather. And once again, this is a low pressure trough through here. All right. And then we see this system kind of wrapping up into the northeast as we head towards Wednesday, late Tuesday into Wednesday. So we're kind of, okay, we're scrolling forward now. We're getting into Wednesday. So this is Wednesday evening, afternoon, evening time frame. This system, you can see it really weakens that was out here as it kind of comes across. And that's where we're going to see that rain break out through there across the southeast later in the week. But it really weakens. It kind of lost its umph. So, and here's that next system. It drives inward, a lot of moisture and energy with this low pressure system out here. And then you can see that one we were talking about here. That one's starting to wrap up, and it'll move offshore here as we head through the end of the week. So this is Thursday, so you can see this little piece of energy kind of came out into the plains, so that'll give a chance to maybe some precip, and that's when I think this, and then we see this system kind of pushing on shore that was out over the Pacific. They still got the southern extent out over the water, but yeah, and that this will be the next storm. This will cause this next storm over the weekend out here in the plains here. And here we go. It's pressing forward. So this is Friday. Yeah, see how that is. And typically the surface features will what we call stack. They'll stack this way, so the surface lows out in here somewhere, wherever it was. It's out here in the southern plains, while the upper energy is a little farther to the west, because that's just how the atmosphere works. So. Yeah, you can see a lot of energy out here through the middle part of the country into the southwest, and then another system pushing up through the Pacific Northwest into Northern California on Friday. And then we kind of head towards Saturday. You can see this is moving quickly across the U.S., so that's what's going to cause all this rain across the south here, and probably some precipitation up here. We'll see how it goes. Um, and then there's that next system coming on shore. So it's just kind of one after the other coming off the Pacific there. And this is as we go through the weekend. So this is set Sunday morning. This whole system's starting to almost move out of the air. It's still along the East Coast. And then we got the Western system. And then as you go on to next week, that's going away. And here we go. Kind of rinse and repeat. So we kind of have that fairly it's a fairly zonal east-west flow with some dips in the jet stream, but we don't have any real deep, sharp, what we call troughs or deep, you know, strong ridges. Like this is a ridge, but it's not real strong. That's kind of blocking the pattern. So we kind of have stuff kind of going across the U.S. real quick. So, anyways, hey, that's your weather update for today. Hope I didn't get too far over your head here. I'm trying to teach you a little bit about the weather as we do this. But yeah, we should have another video coming out tomorrow, and yeah, so enjoy what's left of your weekend. And if you watch the Olympics, enjoy those. If you watch the Super Bowl, enjoy that. I'm not really got a dog in the fight for the Super Bowl. I'm a Chiefs fan, so they're not in it, so I don't really care that much about what's going on there. But anyways, hey, that's beside the point. Wixman Ray out.